Hi, mums and dads of Sefton Park. I'm Lucy, Annabelle and Buddy's mum, and we're gonna make a wreath tonight. So hopefully you guys have got all your packs now. And what I've done is I've emptied out both packs so you can kind of see what's in it, and I'll talk you through what you've got inside your packs. So you've got some rosemary, you've got ivy, spruce, bay and cedar. And here's where it varies. So in the traditional wreath pack, you've got your holly berries, cinnamon sticks, orange cones and apples. And in the winter wonderland, you've got lovely catkins, you've got some mistletoe and some limonium. All right, so we'll leave these little bits for a little while. We're going to do the first stage, which is mossing up our wreath frame. So you should all have one of these in your packs. And get your wire out as well, and you want your moss at this stage, so get your bag out and empty out on the table. And what we're going to do at this point is spread it all out around your wreath frame so you can work out, you know, how much you need for each section. So I'm just going to spread it all out, just roughly, just so you can kind of see like how much you're gonna use for each bit. So yeah, that's like a rough outline. I'm gonna grab this section here and I'm gonna put all the rest of it back in my bowl. And I'm gonna grab the moss, squidge it up really tightly. Also, if there's bits of twigs or anything, I've tried to go through most of it as well as I can, but you will find you've got a few little sticks and bits and bobs in there. Just pull them out. Not that it really matters if they're in there, but it just all helps to create a nice smooth shape. So get your real wire and find the end of it, and you want to attach it to your frame. So I'm just going to tuck it underneath, twist it around, maybe like 5 or 6 times, and then pull it nice and tight so you know it's secure. Get your moss, get a big handful, squidge it up really tightly and pop it on the frame. And then what you want to do with your wire, which is underneath at the moment, go over and under, pull it tight and keep doing that until you get it nice and secure. And you want your moss to be really solid. All right, and then grab another lump, squidge it up and just squidge it next to the last bit you put in. Go around, pull tight. And yeah, so you just want to go around the whole frame, getting your moss in there. And if there's just enough, there's actually 800 grams, I measured it to see how much would fit a frame. And yeah, you just got just the right amount. Don't worry about how many times you go over, just get it nice and secure, because you've got plenty of wire and you'll have loads left at the end, so it doesn't matter how much you use. So yeah, once you've done that, okay, you should have a frame that looks a bit like this, covered in moss. And I'm just going to cut this wire off here. So imagining your wire is still attached after you've gone over the last bit. So you will end up like this, okay? So you've got your wire still hanging on to the frame. Don't cut it yet. Get your scissors and trim around the edge, to just cut off all the little stray straggly bits. So basically just give it a little haircut and a little tidy up. Keep squidging it around, and yeah, again you want it nice and firm. Right, this is where you're going to make your loop to hang your frame. So I probably, sorry, I should have said you do obviously need a pair of scissors and ideally some wire cutters. I've got built-in wire cutters in these scissors, so I'm just going to use these. I'm going to trim it. It's probably about a foot of wire. Cut it about there. And twist it round, create a loop here. So to get your wire, which is attached there, twist it around there, and then this wire is pliable enough so you can make a little bow. Yep, double knot it, pull it through. To be honest, you can probably do it, as long as it's secure, you can do it whichever way you want to do it really. Yeah, and that will just create a nice loop, and that'll be strong enough for you to hang it up at the end. All right, so that's the first stage, okay? And the second stage, we are gonna decorate it in foliage. So we're gonna get our real wire again, and we're gonna attach it to our frame. Actually, doesn't matter where you do it. So I'm literally just gonna do it kind of similar to how we did the loop. We're gonna get the wire, put it underneath, wrap it around, twist it. Like that. Okay. I don't know if I said, but the reason why we use moss is because it's nice and damp. So when, it'll just make your wreath last a lot longer than it would if it was completely dry. So yeah, we're gonna get our foliage now. What's nice is to grab a little mixture of everything rather than kind of having chunks of different foliage. You can create like miniature, mini bouquets really, mini bundles of stuff. So grab a tiny bit of each or whatever you fancy. So I've got a tiny bit of spruce. Spruce is nice on the other side because it's really silvery on this side, but then it's quite green on that side. But if you display it facing that way, you get the nice silvery kind of texture. And we've got some bit of rosemary I'm going to put in. Got that in there already. And okay, a bit of cedar. Cedar's really nice. It's really elegant. It kind of falls and drapes really beautifully. So you kind of want to back it with a big piece of that. Right, so I'm going to add in some holly berries. Now this is for the traditional wreath. Obviously, if you're doing the Winter Wonderland, I would probably add some limonium in at this stage, or sea holly. So yeah, you can either do something like that and weave it in, but for this one that I'm going to do as an example, I'm going to add in some holly. So I've got one holly berry. Just going to attach it like that. Yeah, like I say, make a little bundle. And then you want to just place it just above where you made your tie with the wire. So quite like low down. It depends how bushy and big you want it. If you want a nice tight wreath, you can bring it in closer, but I like mine to be quite like natural and free looking. So have it quite close to the edge here. So yeah, grab your real wire and twist it over, and that should secure it nice and tightly. Do it a couple of times. If you want to do it a few more, that's fine. So yeah, that's kind of like we're starting to make a bit of a shape, and do the same thing again. So let's grab a bit of ivy, a bit of spruce, and then we've got some bay as well. I don't think I'll put bay in this one. Yeah, a tiny bit of bay, and I think you've probably got enough holly berries to do a piece of holly with each little bundle if you're doing. So yeah, there's my next little bundle, and I'm gonna place this kind of like crossed over the other side. So I've gone in this way, gone in so like diagonally, and then do it the other diagonal. So that's gone in left or right, and then this is going to place over the top, but coming in diagonally to the right rather than the left. And then again, just twist over. So you're making like a crisscross really. And then looking at it now, I've got a tiny bit of moss here, so I'm thinking, well, I kind of want to cover that bit up. And cedar's great for that. Cedar's great for hiding all your mistakes. So you can put a bit of cedar there, twist that round. And then same thing again, just grab a little bundle. Okay, so put that there, twist it around again. They're quite forgiving if you make mistakes because it's so natural foliage. You can kind of, yeah, it's just got a natural progression, and it doesn't really matter if something's sticking out too much. You can always trim it off at the end. And yeah, just keep following it on. And I'm just going to use the cedar again to hide that bit of moss. I'll do one last little bundle, and then I will show you what it should look like when you're finished. Okay, so yeah, continue doing that all the way around the wreath. It looks quite big and bushy, but you'll be surprised because once you've actually completed it, it should look a little something like this. So Let me move this one out of the way. So yeah, this is a traditional wreath. This is just with the base, the second stage, where we've got all our foliage and the berries in, and that's all you need. And yeah, if you were doing the Winter Wonderland, rather than using the berries, you'd use the limonium in place of that. And again, you've got enough to go to make little bundles with a bit of limonium in each time you go around. And the catkins too. So catkins and limonium for Winter Wonderland, and holly berries for the traditional. All right. So yeah, that should be the second stage done. And when you come to finish it, find that one. Find where I finished this one. Yeah. Here's where I finished it. So when you get to the end, you might be thinking that there's a gap, but there won't be, because you've got the overlap from where you started. So try and get it in as tight as you can until you feel like, yeah, you can't go any further. And then when you finish it, just cut the wire, probably like 3 inches from the end, and twist it round, and then twist it back inside the moss, and it'll stay secure. It'll be absolutely fine. If you've got any foliage left, you can kind of look at it and think, right, well, I've got a little gap here. I've got a bit of cedar left. I'll just poke that in there. Cedar's great because it will just sit inside the moss, and you don't need to wire it or anything. So you can just pop that in there like that. And what else have we got? Maybe a bit of bay's great. Bay's great for kind of filling in little gaps. So yeah, just poke it in until you're happy with it, and then I'm just gonna. What you can do, that bit was quite lumpy, so you can get your scissors and make almost like a pencil point. Make it quite sharp, and then if it's sharp enough, it should just poke into the moss. Yeah, lovely. Right, so that's the first 2 stages done, and now we're going to decorate it with all our cinnamons and oranges and apples and cones. Okay, so traditional, I'm going to decorate. So I'm going to start with my cones. I'm going to sit them all where I want them to go. So I'm looking at my wreath. I'm thinking, right, I want a cone here, I want a cone there, a cone there, and you carry on doing that and get your orange slices and your apples, wedge them in wherever you want them to sit, and then we can wire them in once you're happy with where they're positioned. So I'm happy with that. I'm not put all of them in just because I'm just showing you how to do it. So yeah, I'm going to start with wiring my cones. So I'm going to grab a cone. Now I'm happy with, I know where it's going to go. I'm going to take one of my wires, which you've got in your packs, and I'm going to literally turn it upside down, the base of it, and get the cone in the middle of the wire. Weave it. I'm really sorry, I've got really dirty nails, but that's all part of the parcel of being a florist. So yeah, twist it round, and then where you had it and you wanted it to go, stab it in the moss. And then when it comes out the other end, turn the wire round, poke it back in the moss. Done. And that'll be nice and secure. But the good thing about using wire is you just got freedom to kind of move it around and like position it where you want it to go. So yeah, do that with all your cones around the frame. And then, actually it really doesn't matter what order you do it in, but I quite like doing cones first because you can they're quite big and bulky and they just create a nice shape. And then get your orange slices or your apples. And yeah, same thing. Put your wire, just put it in the flesh of the orange and it'll be fine. Get it midway, twist it, turn it around, and then stick it in your moss. And yeah, again, take it out the back and then twist it back inside. And wedge that like that. And what else have we got? So yeah, do that with your apples and your oranges, and then get your cinnamon. So the easiest way to do this is grab a wire, get 2 cinnamon sticks, put your wire through the middle, put both of them on there, and then twist it round. Twist. You can, if you like, you can tie them in little bundles of string, but I actually prefer this way. I think it looks a little bit more natural, and again you can kind of manipulate them to go where you want them to go. wedge it in there. Same thing, twist it right at the back. These are quite short now because I've used a double bit of wire. And yeah, just go nuts and decorate it however you want it to look. I haven't actually got any ribbons here, but you should all have a ribbon in your pack as well, which I've wired. And the same thing, just get your wire, position where you want the ribbon to go. More than likely, that's the top. So the top is obviously where you've got your handle, and you can put a nice bow at the bottom here, have it hanging down. Or you can have it at the top if you prefer. And I think that's your finished wreath. So this is the finished Winter Wonderland, which is here. I may or may not be able to get a few more bits by Monday, but I have definitely got some mistletoe which you can add in, which will look great as well. But there's some extra bits again. Just add them all in at the end, and then let's hang it back up. And yeah, once this is done, this will be your traditional wreath. And I think that's it. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a lovely evening creating and enjoying, and happy Christmas.